Yeah. Oh no, there's midges. Every time I go to the forest, I forget it's full of midges and insects, and they always mess up my shoots. But not today. Not today. Who's laughing now? Midges. It's still the midges are laughing because. Oh, right, that's not going to work. Okay, right. For the last few years I've been getting more into wild camping, and one of the things I like to do is not carry too much, because I tend to be carrying a lot of cameras, a lot of weight. Last time I went camping I had 15 to 18 kilos on my back, which is, you know, fairly heavy for a long day. So I'm always trying to get a nice cook system that's a good combination between light and efficient. And until recently, the cook system, I say system, it's really just for heating water, because if I'm out camping, I'll typically just use something like this. This is a Summit to Eat salmon and broccoli pasta. We just need to boil some water and pour it in. I'm not like cooking bacon and eggs and stuff. So the most compact DIY solution I've come up with, and I'll show you these much closer in a second, is this. I'll go into this in more detail in just a second, but this system here is what I have been using, and I brought my kitchen scales just so you know how much that weighs, with the accessories that I normally have with it as well. I think that's important. 373 grams. And then Jetboil sent me this, the Jetboil Stash, and this system, it's obviously bigger, weighs 377 grams, so slightly over 100 grams heavier. But the question is, which one is better? Let's take a closer look. That's a bit too close. Okay, and let's start with what I have been using for my ultralight camping setup. This is it here. I've got 100 gram gas canister, and then the rest of it all fits into this rather small titanium cup. It's just big enough to boil enough water to fill up one of these meal packets. So this is like the smallest solution I've been able to come up with so far. And in it, and inside, I have a small bottle that I will maybe hold tea, coffee, or sugar, something like that in it. I've got a titanium spork, big lighter, got the actual burner itself here, which is a little tiny BSR. Like, these are really cheap. Here we go. And this setup works pretty well for being really compact, but there's a few things I'm not really keen on. Can't actually get that much water in this, it's not that big. And then this burner isn't the world's best made. That's what I have been using. As I said, it's pretty lightweight, and it's pretty cheap to put together as well. That entire system costs to put together. But then we have this. This is the Jetboil Stash. It weighs about 100 grams more and costs a lot more. It costs this much. So yeah, very expensive by comparison, but is it actually worth spending the extra money? So we'll take a look at this whole system. The first thing you notice is that this has this like flame catcher madoober dingy madobber on the bottom here, and the dingy mabob fire majagger thingy madinger is supposed to like be more efficient with the burning. We'll test that. We'll see which one can boil the same amount of water faster in a second. It's obviously much bigger. You can cook in this. You're not meant to. You're not meant to. They do say it's only for boiling water, but you could totally cook stuff in this as long as it's non-stick and you don't use any metal implements, which is something I should point out. So I would never use a titanium spork with this because it will destroy the non-stick coating. Just a quick insert on the cooking aspect. Jetboil do not design these things to cook proper food in, like you cannot do like baked beans and bacon and stuff like that. You will absolutely destroy it. They're really designed for just boiling water that you use to rehydrate meals. However, if you cook stuff that's mostly water-based, like noodles, or you put in some water and you kind of drop stuff into it and just to bring it up to temperature, you can kind of cook in them. Something I would do is put in a little bit of water and then chuck in like some halloumi and chili and maybe salami or something like that. And you can make sort of a cooked meal in it. But they don't recommend it, but you can do it, but they don't recommend it. You've been warned. The lid's quite clever because it's got this like sippy thing here, so you can like prepare a drink in this, and it's just about small enough that you could while the lid keeps your drink warm. Take off the drink, and this is cool. The gas canister sticks to the lid, and in the space it's just big enough for a small bic. Take that off, and inside this is what I've been storing inside this one. I've got enough space for like some tea bags. I've got enough space for a plastic spoon. As I said, I would not use metal implements in this, you'll destroy it. This is like a decathlon plastic spoon that I chopped the end off, so when I fold it in half it fit it down inside. A little holder for your gas stove. I'll set this all up in a second. And then you got a little baggie on the inside. This bag obviously thinks we're idiots because this has the burner in it, but on the outside it has this photograph to show you which way the burner should go in. And then there's a little diagram that tells you how to repack everything so it all fits. Here's the burner. Now this is a very nice little stove. A much larger surface area on the top than my little... See the difference? None of that matters if these don't perform well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a simple test where I'm going to boil exactly the same amount of water and see which one's faster. Okay, we'll start by assembling this one first. And come on. I'm so hungry.
2,000 years later.
Screw it on, and that's it. You're basically good to go at that point. One disadvantage with this is always it doesn't have a lot of surface area, so on rough ground it can tip over easier. Jetboil comes with this little stand, a much more stable platform. Put it on Jetboil, unfold the legs, and voila. I'm going to boil as much water as I would normally boil in this cup. Be about, it's just about a centimetre from the top. Oh great, there's a fly floating around in this one already. Oh, I should point out that Jetboil sent this to me for free, which, you know, does make my decision regarding on whether or not I would spend money on something like this rather easy to make, because I didn't have to spend any money on it. But this isn't a paid review. They didn't tell me what to say or what to think. They just sent it to me and said, would I be interested? And it was free, so of course I said yes. Right, what I'm going to do is I'll light both of them, put them on full blast, set a timer, and then set them both on at the same time. We'll see how long it takes. The other one. Okay, right, put them on the full blast. This one is very scary at full power. Does not feel safe. Right. They're both up and full. Start the timer, and on we go. The Jetboil has these nice grooves that it fits down it. I'm going to leave the lids off for this. Normally I would put them on, which would be quicker, but it means we can see the steam coming up if I leave them off. Minute 18 seconds. They're both bubbling on the bottom. The Jetboil's starting to steam. Okay, the Jetboil's starting to steam. Is it boiling? Is it boiling? Okay, the Jetboil is boiling at 1 minute 40 seconds. How much longer will it take this little stove? So I can already see that the legs in this are glowing red hot, which means this is already overheating, which is not a good sign. So this is now hazardous to your health. And we're boiling, stop. Whew. Okay, so honestly, no big surprises there. The Jetboil was nearly a minute faster. Okay, so there you have it. There's really quick comparison between this like ultralight solution here. I have seen other people use this setup, and you can put this together for about 50 quid. You could probably put this together for, compared to the Jetboil Stash, which costs nearly 150 quid. So the Jetboil is 3 times more expensive. So I think whether or not it's worth it will come down to what your kind of budget is like. What I will say for the Jetboil is that it was much faster. It was much faster. It's much safer as well to use. This was glowing red hot, and I know if I had to run this for much longer, those legs would have started to melt, and this would have fallen over, which is usually when I'm cooking with this, I would have the gas turned down, or in boiling water, you have the gas turned down much lower, so this would be even slower to boil that water. This system here with the Jetboil clearly works. It heated that water super fast. And it's also really well made. I have gone through, I think, 3 of these little small stoves that have cost that sort of £15 to £25 mark. So I've spent nearly £75 just replacing cheap stoves like that have broken. So if you're hiking and camping a lot, something like the Jetboil might work out to be a better solution over a long period of time. Now, one downside with the Jetboil, in fact, it's a downside with both of these, is that they're not very well wind protected. The Jetboil does have this sort of surround coming down a little bit here, and it is closer to the burner, but it's not as close as like some of the other Jetboil models that come down and completely surround. But I do think that for me, unless I have a really restrictive space restriction, I will probably use the Jetboil. Honestly, I genuinely honestly will probably use the Jetboil over this, and for me it probably comes down to the faster cooking time, but also the fact that it's a much more versatile system. For only an extra slightly over 100 grams, I've got a bigger pot to cook in. I could cook like solid food in it, even though you're not supposed to. I could do a little bit of cooking as long as I'm really careful not to destroy that non-stick pan. It's really well made. I think this will last for a long time, whereas I know this little burner here is already broken and on its way out. So I would be interested to know what other solutions are out there, so please feel free to comment. You don't need to come on and say, oh, the Jetboil's great. You can come on and say it's an overpriced piece of junk, or you can come on and say you love Jetboil, or you can come on and say, here's, try this other product down below. They didn't pay me, so I can say what I want. I do like it, but it is pricey, but it is well made. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You can decide for yourself. Okay, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully I did not sort of force you into buying something that you do not need. And hopefully, if this is the solution for you, that I did pressurize you into buying it. And if that's the case, there's an affiliate link in the description where you can click, and I'll get a very tiny percentage that won't even cover a fraction of the time I spend making this video. But still, I would appreciate it if you use that link if you're going to buy it. Thanks for watching. I make videos about the outdoors, about camping, tech, running, a lot of running on here, small cameras like drones and things like that. Have a look around the channel. You might find something you like, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.